I haven't been making a whole lot of videos about the, for lack of a better term, worldly holidays lately, just because I have so many about them and I've been so outspoken that, especially when it comes to Christmas, Easter, and Halloween, no person that is a follower of Messiah Yeshua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, or a believer of the Bible, or a follower of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob should be partaking in those holidays. Christmas, Easter, and Halloween are very clearly against God's laws. For instance, Deuteronomy 12:30-32. I usually bring this one up because it's where our Father tells us, "Do not serve me how other nations serve their gods. That's an abomination to me." And Christmas is a rebranded pagan holiday. Easter is a rebranded pagan holiday. And Halloween, I don't even know how all these churches get around the idea that it's anything other than a satanic holiday. I have a video where I've gone over Halloween in detail, and the church, the leader of the Church of Satan, said at least Christian parents let their kids honor Satan one day a year. If that doesn't fire up some kind of warning signal in your brain as a believer, I don't know what will. And all these churches are like, "Oh, no, we don't celebrate Halloween. We do trunk or treat. We do fall festival." Well, you can paint it however you want, but around the same time as Halloween, every single year, you do the exact same thing that all the pagans are running around doing. You have your kids dress up in little satanic costumes, little ghosts, little demons. Even if you're okay with them dressing up as something harmless, you're still doing it. You're still partaking, right? You're still doing everything that the pagans are doing that is clearly considered the worship of other gods, and you're doing it now in a Christian way, in a godly, honoring way. No, doesn't exist. You cannot be partaking in Christmas, Easter, or Halloween if you believe in the Bible. I've had so many people come against me about that. There's so many videos about me specifically in my teachings on not partaking in those. But I don't care. I want to honor my God and my Messiah. And if you look at history and if you look at the Bible, it's clear we can't be partaking in these. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, where do we fall on that one? I've made a video about this before. I haven't gone into detail specifically about Thanksgiving, but since it was brought up and since the time is upon us, I want to give you my personal feelings and opinions on Thanksgiving. And I want to make it clear with everybody, I have studied this. I have considered the cultural context and the history of it, and at this time in my life, this is my opinion about this right now. And if I ever get any information that concretes a different direction than my beliefs, I will consider it and I will make the necessary corrections in my life. But at this time, today, as of the making of this video, I personally do not see anything wrong with Thanksgiving. And before you freak out on me, let me tell you why. There's nothing wrong with having a tradition or celebration outside of biblical parameters as long as it doesn't break God's laws. And we get two examples of this in Scripture. One of them is Purim and one of them is Hanukkah. Purim is not a feast that was commanded or ordained by God. Same thing with Hanukkah. And it doesn't flat out say that Yeshua celebrated either of these holidays, but it also doesn't say that he rejected them either. And this includes in post-Christ Apocrypha that I've read. I've never found anything against it. In fact, it tells us that Yeshua was teaching in the synagogue at the time that Hanukkah was going on. So, again, that doesn't really say he was honoring it or keeping it, but we know he wasn't separating himself from the people or the day itself during its celebration. Again, Purim, Hanukkah, two examples of traditions that came from men, but that didn't actually go against God's laws. Everything I have found about the celebration of Thanksgiving, whether it be in our country or other countries worldwide, it seems that it was always an end of harvest celebration, meaning the growing season's over, you pull in the last of your crops, and you have a feast to celebrate how, bountiful your crops were, or to celebrate the season of growing being over for this year. So that's what I've been able to find about Thanksgiving. As far as I can tell, it was never meant or celebrated as something to honor a pagan god. Now, I know that culturally, some people don't like Thanksgiving because of events that occurred to their particular race, culture, community during the time of this feast. So, take for instance the Indians. Pretty sure they're not particularly fond of Thanksgiving, just because of some of the surrounding circumstances of what was going on to their people at this time. But again, we're not examining it from that aspect. We're examining it from, does this break God's laws or not? Is this something that I can partake in or not? And again, let me make this clear. This is my opinion on it. I know many people that do not keep Thanksgiving anymore, and I am totally okay with that, and I understand it, and I support them in doing that. And I know Torah observant Christians that do still keep Thanksgiving. I still have kept Thanksgiving. I usually go to my uncle's house. It's like the one time a year where we go and hang out and do a family thing. So I do still do it. I have in the past kept Thanksgiving. Not all of them. I did last year. I didn't the year before, and I didn't the year before that. But I don't have a problem with Thanksgiving stuff at this time. Again, my opinion, if you feel convicted not to keep it, I suggest you follow that conviction. And there's nothing wrong with that conviction. But if you do still keep Thanksgiving, at this moment, with the current information I have, I don't see anything wrong with it. People have argued that you are still being part of the world when you do those things. I don't disagree with that. He does tell us to separate ourselves from the world and to not be like them. But does that mean we can't have an end of harvest feast? Again, I'm not really much of a grower or farmer, so that doesn't really apply to me particularly. But if we're looking at Thanksgiving from the context of this being an end of harvest feast, does that mean I can't have one because I believe in the Bible? I don't think it does. And again, you can make the same arguments for Purim and Hanukkah. They are not biblical holidays, and they are celebrated by people that are not doing the will of God. Purim and Hanukkah to this day are kept by people who are not following the Torah, who are not accepting Yeshua, who are not doing the things that the Bible requires of us. Sure, they're doing some of it, but they're not doing a really big, really important chunk of it. So you could make the exact same argument for Purim and Hanukkah, and I don't see any Torah-observant Christians standing against those holidays. Again, if I get information to the contrary, and I have looked into this, I have studied it, I feel like I've exhausted my research, but if someone brings something to me, I will examine it, I will make corrections if necessary. If I had to give up Thanksgiving, fine. I could give up Thanksgiving. I can tell you right now, I could never celebrate it again and be just fine. And I don't celebrate Purim or Hanukkah purely because, I just don't see them as biblical holidays, and they're not cultural holidays to me. I don't see that they go against God. I don't think Purim or Hanukkah goes against God's commandments, but it's not culturally a holiday for me, and I don't see anything wrong with it, though. I don't celebrate it, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with a Torah-observant Christian celebrating those holidays either. If you wanted to keep Purim or Hanukkah, I wouldn't grieve you. That's just where I'm at with it. That is my opinion on it. I hope this clarified some stuff for you. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk to me in detail, or feel free to reach out to me if you think you have biblical information, not your opinions, but biblical information that proves me wrong. I would love to see it, and I will make a video correcting myself if I come on new evidence sometime that proves what I'm saying right now to be wrong. I have no problem making a retraction. So feel free to reach out to me in either of those circumstances, and we'll go from there. But I love you guys. See you on the next one.